Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm, of course, the Battle Room, and today I'm joined by Raghav. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Got a belly full of spaghetti, and I'm ready to analyze some world sets. And of course, what a better place to start than with our GOAT Marcus Dion versus Wolfe Glick, and it is a win-and-in match.
Yeah, so obviously Marcus has had an incredible season. He's gotten top four, second, and then top cut NAIC, while also having other really good day twos. So he's had a really strong season, and I think he's definitely a player that people were watching out for going into this tournament. But his fate is sealed here. He is playing Wolfe in Swiss round 8, which means the winner of this game will advance to day 2 for a chance to win Worlds, and the loser completely out of it, right? And obviously, Wolfe had an amazing season as well.
Yeah, Wolfe has had a phenomenal season, but a not great run at AIC, where Marcus actually top cut. And I'm proud to say I sent Wolfe to 1-1 this tournament, and then he's been crawling back from 2-2. So he's on a hot streak right now. He's won the last, what is it, 3 in a row. So this is a big game deciding whether he's going to be eliminated or not. And it's looking like a familiar matchup, to be honest. I played him with something similar to what Marcus is running, albeit a few different sets, but I think Wolfe has experience versus this, and obviously he's one of the best players in the world, using the team he's comfortable with. So I'm curious to see like what he can do into this differently than what he did against me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm obviously very familiar with Wolf's team. These are the same 6 Pokemon that I used at the first regional of the year with some very slight item changes, right? I obviously had Covert Cloak Amoonguss instead to make it more potent in Trick Room, and then I had Leftovers Lunala just to give it permanent Shadow Shields. But I'm familiar with the team, and I think the matchup here is good depending on what the Terras are on Marcus's side of the field. It really depends on what that Ice Rider is, because one of the big issues I had with this team and why I eventually abandoned it was its matchup into Leech Seed Ice Rider is nightmarish. And I think it really does depend on the Terra, because if you are facing down like a Terra Water or a Terra, like Fairy, like you were, that can be very problematic and very hard for you to deal with. So it does really depend on that, but for the most part, otherwise, this team is really good. It matches up well into almost anything. It always has a matchup, and I think that's why, Wolfe picked it. I actually did talk to Dewabafet at the tournament, who was a practice partner with Wolfe, and he did mention that he just felt like Wolfe really liked the matchups. Like, it was just a good spread overall, and he felt like he could beat anything if he was prepared into it. So, I'm gonna lock that team in if I'm him, right?
Yeah, it definitely looks like a team that he can pilot, something that requires a lot of precision. Doesn't have those big spread type moves that you have with like Calyrex or, the damage from Miraidon. But he does have his signature Life Orb Koraidon that's a walking nuke with Bat. He's got the Covert Cloak Lunala again that he brought at NAIC, stopping Snarl, stopping Fake Out. Since it is a bit of a Terra Hog, getting rid of the Ghost type, it's still good to be immune to Fake Out. It's actually huge, especially in True. He also has Will-O-Wisp on Ensign, which can be really helpful into stuff like Ice Rider. And yeah, I mean, I think in this his tools are definitely Wide Guard Lunala plus Ursaluna, and then maybe positioning that Koraidon and Incineroar to get some juicy hits off.
Yeah, I think Ursaluna is going to be the big piece here in the matchup, right? Like, it's pretty good in Miraidon, believe it or not. That's kind of why it is so good. And I think Wolf's team obviously is much more Trick Room focused than the versions we see that did really well at Worlds, like the one usually with Chi-Yu and Brute Bonnet instead. This one has Instant and Amoonguss, which I think are amazing partners to let Ursaluna shine. So we'll have to see how Wolfe navigates this Amoonguss, or this Ursaluna. But what's really cool about this matchup specifically is Ursaluna is good in and out of Trick Room just because of Wide Guard protection, because of Intimidate, and also just Miraidon sucking into Ursaluna. But I do think what's really nice here is that AV and Miraidon does allow Marcus to switch moves, because I think when you're not switching moves, it makes Ursaluna even more fearsome. But in this case, he can switch, and again, he does have that Leech Seed, which I think can be incredibly valuable into this matchup.
Yeah, he is though Terra Electric, which means that you're guaranteed to be able to get a ground move off into it, so that's something to think about. He is also Terra Fire on Calyrex. That's really important because Wolfe is able to force that Terra pretty often, whether it's with his Koraidon or Lunala. And then if he's able to set up Trick Room, Ursaluna can actually hit it for super effective damage. So I think it's going to be a battle of being able to get a Leech Seed off, prevent Ursaluna from getting into position, and for Wolfe, obviously the opposite, getting Trick Room set up and forcing Calyrex into a pin. Honestly, Marcus has a solid trio, probably an Ensign with double restricted. But the fourth Pokemon is kind of hard to figure out. He could go Ogerpon. You know, I mentioned Wolf doesn't have spread type damage, so being able to follow me is really strong. But also, I'm kind of curious about Annihilape. If it's not facing down a Flutter Mane, it can really fuck shit up.
Yeah, Annihilape could be valuable as well. I think it really depends, though, because I think Wolf, in this matchup, I feel like Flutter Koraidon could be the opening at least, especially to diffuse Annihilape if it's ever led. Like, it just is actually cooked from there. And it's also Terra Dark as well, so it is not going to be ever able to take that Moonblast well. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm expecting Wolf to just really have to position Ursaluna well to win the matchup, and I think Marcus has to position that lead seed Calyrex incredibly well. So we'll have to see who can come out on top here.
Yeah, let's see what these guys are going for. The tournament's on the line. I think they're leaving it all on the floor tonight, boss. I think we're going to see blood, sweat, and tears, and I think one of these guys is going to end up crying. Whether it's tears of joy or sadness, we'll just have to find out.
We'll have to see. So we're going to see Marcus lead off with Incineroar and Calyrex, and Wolf is going to lead off with that Koraidon Lunala double restricted lead here. So right off the bat, I think Wolf's lead's looking fantastic, right? He does have to potentially commit an early Terra here if he doesn't want to take a Glacial Lance, but he also could just Wide Guard pretty freely, and he can just attack with Lunala here if he so desires. He can Terra Fairy. Like, he really does have endless options for how he wants to approach this lead.
Yeah, I also think that, like, Ensign's a pretty free switch-in. The only thing is Marcus is probably going to Terrafire that Calyrex, and he's probably going to lead seed off into Lunala. After that, I don't know if his momentum is that good. Getting a lead seed off early against Lunala could be really good, because at least it's getting punished for just sitting there and spamming Wide Guard, right? But I think Wolf's got different ideas. He kind of wants to play super aggressive and just close combat that Ensign. What would you do in this situation? I'm thinking Oh, he doesn't have Incineroar. That's actually really big.
Wow, if I'm in this situation, I do kind of think I want to just press the super effective buttons. I don't think Marcus's punishes are too crazy, but Wolf's opting not to commit the Terra, which I think is incredibly smart, right? I think if I'm if I'm Marcus, that lead sheet does feel really juicy. I do think this Ursaluna switch is really good. I think one of the things to set yourself apart with this team and to find success with this team is finding creative ways to bring in Ursaluna. I think that's the most important part of this team. And turn one, Wolf says, hey, you're not going to mess with that Glacial Lance. Like, you're not Glacial Lancing turn one, and I'm calling that straight up. But he just fucking did it. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, Marcus.
Dead. It just tried to Trick Room. Dude, Marcus wasn't even afraid of close combat. He just went for knockoff. You nod his head. That was insane turn. What just happened, Colin?
He whipped it out and threw it on the table. And he said, like, Wolf read that lead sheet like we talked about because it's so safe, so calculated. But I love that Marcus just put the gas on the pedal, dude. That was an amazing turn one. How do you even come back from that?
I really respect that play because Wolf's at -1. Why would he want to just take a free fake out Lance? There's no point. And I think it's honestly a really bad situation because Calyrex just gets to click Glacial Lance pretty freely. It already has a +1 boost. Wolf doesn't even Terra, just close combats the Ensign. Sure, he takes 1 KO, but he's about to drop to this Lance.
He's about to lose 2 guys here, and we're about to go to game 2 just like that. And there's the Rocky Helmet. There's the CC, so now we're at -1. And the Glacial Lance. Here it comes. The Ursaluna getting smacked like that was He's faster. He's faster. Wolf. Oh my god, Marcus didn't expect
Marcus
it.
looked surprised. So I think he didn't click Trick Room.
He definitely.
Wolf tried to speedy after Ursaluna. It was slower than my Calyrex though, so I guess I never noticed that.
Holy shit!
Did you notice?
That's
that
nice.
My Calyrex speed-tied his Incineroar. So I'm thinking maybe this Ursaluna is 1 slower than his Incineroar, which would place it at like 78. That's faster than most Calyrex Ice. Dude, that's actually insane. That's a huge piece of information that, like, we didn't expect, and I would not have guessed Marcus to know either.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing about Ursaluna and Calyrex is they have the exact same base speed. So it can get really, really tricky because the Calyrex speed wars are crazy as it is, like on Calyrex Ice specifically. But that's not even accounting for the Calyrex Ursaluna speed wars that are going on right now here too. And so now Wolf is just in an incredible spot. I think you just... potentially just CC the Ogerpon if you want to go for it, or you could just sack Ursaluna. We saw Amoonguss in the back. Like, I think you just sack Ursaluna, bring in your Amoonguss, and just start pressing Rage Powder CC, and this game should be yours. Because again, Marcus doesn't really have that Gleam or that crazy punishing spread move, because he is AV with Snarl.
Yeah, I actually think if you just switch out Koraidon like Wolfe's done, you can just Rage Powder CC, win the game. Marcus doesn't have, Dazzling Gleam or anything like that either, and has Terra available, right? So I think Wolf just won the game by being faster. I'm not over it. What the fuck?
I love the way
and he doesn't even target the Ursaluna.
I love the way he played it too, because like I think he knows he has some speed on that guy, and he was like, hey, turn one went horribly. I lost on turn one, no big deal. That's not a big deal. I'm just gonna like bank the game on a speed, like on a speed interaction, right? It's not even a speed tie. He just said, let's see what happens, because I might be faster. But he knows that information and he can play to it. And I mean, it just simply won him the game there. He just instantly wins the game off that turn two. Like, that headlong rush was insane.
I'm still in shock because he went for Trick Room turn one. I guess it does set up game a lot better, being faster than Ogerpon and Miraidon, but that's so crazy. He lost his entire restricted for nothing. 90% of Ursaluna, but he forced the Terra, and we talked about that. If you're able to get that Calyrex Terra fired, you just bop it with Bear. I would have to set up Trick Room at least, but this is huge. This makes it even harder for Marcus, I think, honestly.
It really does. It really does. But I do like the plan that Wolfe had, because like, worst case, he can start fishing in turn two. He can just wide guard EQ, and he can start looking to see who is faster and figure out for sure. But he was just put in a position where he said, I gotta just do this, man. There's nothing I can do. I just need to press the attack button and pray that I'm faster, because I'm already cooked. That turn one was so bad. So I do think it's not a bad plan. Like, his plan of Trick Room plus Bear was solid. It's just Marcus read him, dude. Honestly, shout out to Marcus for calling that. But then shout out to Wolfe for the running that speed creep on Ursaluna, because that was huge.
Yeah, honestly, both amazing plays, but Marcus just got. Like, in that the training from Wolfe, like, so precise. These are exactly the things I'm talking about, where you need to know more than your opponent in the matchup. You need to have all the information. Wolfe knows that he's got a speedy ass Ursaluna, and that Calyrex usually aren't going that fast. But yeah, I like the game plan again. I don't know if I want him to take like almost 200% turn one, but I think he can play around that now, knowing that he's faster on pretty much all his Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think Koraidon is like so amazing in this matchup. Like, even more so, like, because it is faster than Miraidon. There's no Scarf involved, and it also just like one shots like seriously almost every Pokemon. Like, that Ogerpon definitely dies to a Flare Blitz. That Miraidon probably lives with like 1 HP, right? Like, Marcus needs to play that Instant incredibly well. Otherwise, Koraidon will clean up too. And then Marcus just has so much to deal with. He's got to deal with Ursaluna. He's got to deal with Koraidon. He's got to deal with potential Flutter Mane or a Trick Room, right? Like, it's just so many tools. And I think that's why I do love Wolfe's team. Like, it's one of my favorite teams I've used in the past like 5 years, was purely because it has so many tools for me to be a great player with it. And Wolfe's one of the best. So we'll have to see how he approaches the game too, because like, what are you doing if you're Marcus here?
Yeah, I think you're not allowed to lose in Sonora without, always having an Intimidate on the board. But I'm honestly not sure what he's supposed to do here. Maybe Fake Out Leech Seed is not good for that Ursaluna switch in. So like, maybe he should set up his own Trick Room so he can actually outspeed the Ursaluna with his Calyrex Ice. But obviously there's a wide guard issue. Honestly, it's looking pretty annoying. Probably just spam Lance, make sure it's not able to come in for free, and don't get stuck with your Instant on the board.
Okay, he's conserving the Instant.
I like that. I like having it for later. You really don't want Ursaluna to come in at neutral. He doesn't even Terra. He knows that Terra firing last time kind of got it.
Wow, not Terraing's crazy though, because like, either super effective hit could have hit that Calyrex. He just soul read Wolfe there. He totally soul read him because of how that game one went. Marcus said, hey, I know exactly how you're going to adapt. You're going to threaten CC this time, and I'm going to bring in Annihilape, a Pokemon I didn't even bring, and I'm just gonna let him shine. So I really liked Marcus had this turn 1 planned out, literally from the jump here with that Annihilate bring, and now he's in a pretty good spot. He's threatening Final Gambit, he's threatening Shadow Claw as well into Lunala. That shield is broken, so Wolfe is in. He's kind of on the back foot at least for this turn, depending on what Annihilape's gonna lock into.
It definitely could Final Gambit that Koraidon, which would be tragic. But then that means Lunala is being left alone, and he could probably steamroll with Wide Guard plus Ursaluna. So I think he's really got to deal with this Lunala problem. It makes his life a lot easier into that Ursaluna if he's able to click Glacial Lance. So I'm honestly anticipating a little bit of a read from Marcus onto getting some more damage onto that Lunala.
Yeah, I think Marcus should try to potentially force the Terra. I would like to see a Shadow Claw. Honestly, I mean, Wolfe didn't go for the Terra Fairy, but I thought, low-key, what if you Final Gambited Lunala if you're feeling crazy? But he is actually just going to Shadow Claw, and Lunala's dead again. Marcus just removes Lunala, a crit it, but I'm kind of thinking that one didn't matter.
I also think it doesn't matter. Marcus looks confused for some reason at first, but also, again, just not tearing the Calyrex. I don't think I get it. Yeah, it's just gone now, buddy. I think you needed that guy for the Ursaluna, and now he's got an Annihilape locked into Shadow Claw. Getting rid of that Lunala is only huge if you actually have a Calyrex to click Glacial Lance with.
Yeah, this is hella, like, negative momentum here, because now you have Shadow Claw, and I mean, you have Terra, but like at what cost, right? Like, you lost your restricted. Miraidon's gonna have to do the crazy lifting here. Not just heavy lifting, he's about to have to lift the entire game, and Marcus's hopes and dreams of winning Worlds here. This is nuts. Because we know it's Incin too. So it's Incin Miraidon. It has to be Miraidon, right?
And this doesn't look very good at all because you have an Amoonguss to protect your Koraidon too.
Yep.
And Miraidon's best way of hitting it is Draco Meteor, but that means it's reducing its damage into Ursaluna, like, afterwards. So I think Marcus has got to find a way to position his Ape back in, but I think Wolfe has a lot of room to work with here. He could get a Flame Charge to outspeed Ape, he could just double protect and then CC the next turn. But I do like the idea of keeping his foot on the gas because it's stuck in Shadow Claw, and he can't fake out both Pokemon.
Yeah, I do kind of like the idea of potentially CCing, but I think maybe this could, like, I just don't know if Marcus is going to go for a knockoff. That's the only punish to switching an Ursaluna, right? So I feel like the Ursaluna switch is just very, very safe. And at this point in the game, Ursaluna might be able to just go the distance without the orb, right? Like, there's 2 Ground Weeks and an Annihilape. I think Ursaluna might be able to do this. So I think, like, worst case scenario is not even that bad.
Yeah, I like switching it in on this slot too, because he's probably just going to fake out that slot. Because Wolf's threatening the CC. Oh, I forgot Marcus has Terra available, so I guess he's not the biggest threat, especially since it's Terra Water. But Wolfe always does a good job of, getting the switch in on the other slot. Like, he knows he wants to do, but he tries to do it in a creative way that you don't really counter it.
And we're going to see a taunt onto Amoonguss. Okay, I did forget that taunt was there. That was an even better protect. And so, yeah, now you get the burned Ursaluna in. And now you could potentially press Earthquake if you wanted to. You could also just rip a Headlong Rush into any of these Pokemon, right? You do have to be, like, a tad careful. Because you can't necessarily Facade here, even though you would love to. Just because Annihilape truly can come into either slot.
Yeah, I like Headlong Rushing the Miraidon because, worst case, right? It's a Incin that just switched out. I don't care. That's a lot of damage, and that means they're just clicking switch, not getting anything else done. Yeah. If you want Ursaluna to get to -1, that's such negative momentum, like you said earlier. I like that phrase, so I'm gonna use it. And I think Wolfe just gets to just kind of fucking thrash him with his bear.
Yeah, this is gonna be the he's bringing Annihilape into the Incin slot, hoping to tank a potential Facade, but also he's just gonna Volt Switch just so he can get that Incin back in. Like, he's accomplishing something. He's keeping alive his Miraidon, but, like, at what cost? He's like I said, negative momentum. He's not really accomplishing anything. He's just stalling, right? He's just stalling out this turn, hopefully to try to potentially do something here. But even then, I just don't think it's enough. I think that turn, the turn he lost Calyrex was just really brutal. But I understand not wanting to Terra because it is really scary because the bear is faster than your Calyrex. But yeah, now here we go. We take some Rocky helmet recoil, but that's about it.
And if you Terra, it's like the bear hits three things super effectively with like ground type moves. It's just a really tough situation to be. I think that Wolf is making it look like this is his best matchup. Like, it's making me more impressed with his team choice. I think that even though I was Terra Fairy, if I was maybe a little bit slower on Calyrex Ice, this could have been a lot harder. I feel like this is a really, really solid game plan that he's showing. He didn't even bring Incineroar. He's kind of brought through Glacial Lance weak Pokemon, but he knows he can get rid of it every time.
Yeah, it's funny too. Is like he's fighting like obviously Amoonguss is one of the best Pokemon ever, but bringing him into Koraidon or into Miraidon just to Rage Powder, and that's all you need him for, and that's all he's needed to do. So we are gonna see. Oh wow, not a double protect though. He's gonna let Ursaluna take that fake out, but Amoonguss protecting. He doesn't want to get taunted. He doesn't want to get final gambited. There's no reason there. So yeah.
I think he's just playing it safe, and now there's like literally nothing he can do. I think Amoonguss is actually just so important into an Annihilape. Otherwise, that guy goes too crazy because Fluttermane's not as valuable either. Amoonguss at least has like Rage Powder for this Miraidon as well to protect Koraidon. And with AV, like Fluttermane's just not doing the work that Amoonguss is doing in this match. I guess it is a bit tricky because Ursaluna's, I think, at -2 now. Or no, it's still -1. But Amoonguss is in danger of dying to a Draco Meteor here.
I think it's okay. I think. Oh wow, he's actually just hard swapping. What? That's crazy work. Wait.
Miraidon just Dracos here and he blitzes the Ursaluna. Is the game over? Is this game 3, baby?
Oh, he Draco's the Koraidon though. He actually wants the Amoonguss to get that regenerator so they can take a final gambit, I guess.
Oh, because Marcus doesn't have Flare Blitz. It only has knockoff, parting, and taunt. So this is actually a really good situation. The Miraidon's at -2 now. Did he just EQ or did he Headlong Rush again?
He Headlong Rush.
Headlong Rush. Let's get rid of the Miraidon. It's at -1. EQ doesn't guarantee that. And yeah, now it's guaranteed to live a final gambit, and it has Rocky Helmet. So he can just Rage Powder and attack the Incin probably. And I think it's over. He's not going to lock into CC.
Wow, I can't believe he actually, like, he navigated this one. This game was actually really, really tight. Wolf, if he wins this, is so happy, which I think he should. I think he can just Earthquake, right? Like, because I think he's only at -1, and Annihilape should never, like, there's no outcome where Annihilape can CC, right? Like, I think you can't protect it, so I think Wolf gets guaranteed 2 turns with this Ursaluna, and there's no protects, so I think it's just Rage Powder, Earthquake, right?
If you EQ crit yourself, it could be really bad, whereas if you just Headlong, I think you still guaranteed win.
You Headlong what though? The instant is Rocky Helmet, you faint then. And then if Amoonguss went down, you have to Earthquake. It is really tricky. I think you do have to hope Earthquake can
just
kill.
Don't crit yourself, yeah. No, this is a really scary endgame, you're right.
Yeah, because if Earthquake doesn't kill Incin... Oh, he Headlong Rush... The guy! He Headlong Rush Annihilape! Oh!
I think that's fine.
Yeah, no. I totally respect it, because if you go for Final Gambit... Amoonguss lives with 2 HP, I think it is, because all Amoongusses have more HP than Annihilape. So what that allows you to do is then you can...
It redirects into the Incin, but this way if you Headlong, you're able to just Pollen Puff the Incin if you got taunted. And since the Marcus is Rocky Helmet, he can't knock off through the Rage Powder. So you just Rage Powder again now in EQ and 100% win.
Yeah, and even if you Final Gambits, the Rocky Helmet will activate second, so you will kill Incineroar. He covered for Final Gambit, he covered for CC by pressing Headlong, and he covered for Taunt as well. I think he's got it here. That was well played. That was a really well played endgame. Wow.
And it came down to the last second. I think we were all a little bit confused. He lives the crit with 1 HP, but he's going to knock himself out. And that was a really clean endgame. I thought he had a really big advantage, but it kind of got scary near the end there. But, you know, our goat's not messing those up. And I have to say, he did win the drip war, I think. Marcus has got the standard stream shirt, and we just got to do better when we know we're going to be on stream, dude.
It's true. We gotta wear a drip that doesn't have logos on it. But either way, I think honestly, I am really impressed with that headlong because I think Wolf picked the perfect option there, which is to be expected. But I think any of the other moves was a potential throw based on how Marcus played. But the headlong covered for Final Gambit. It covered for Shadow Claw. It covered for Taunt. It was just well fucking played. It was a sick set to see how Wolf played the team he chose to bring to Worlds. So congrats to Wolf for making it to day 2. And it was a sick set to watch. I'm glad we watched it here on the street on the channel.
It was a banger with Wolf sets, and yeah, this one had a lot of stakes to it. I'm honestly just really happy to see it redeemed and see the team in action. That was really sick.
Yeah, of course, I love that team so much too, and so it's cool to see him play. Something that I like. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys next time.